Why did Kunishige craft Enten, a seventh enchanted blade, given his complicated feelings toward the first six and what they had done? Let's talk about it. All right, first of all, shout out to Noah for asking me about this today because this is a fantastic question and something I've literally been thinking about since the beginning of the series. Like I mentioned already, Kunishige clearly had a complicated relationship with the Enchanted Blades and what he'd done. I mean, Kagurabachi on the whole is very much a story about the sins of the past and specifically the sins of the father, right? He's basically Oppenheimer. He created weapons of mass destruction in this world. He retrieved them all after the war and then locked them up. So what would possess him to then create a seventh blade? The way I see it, there are two main options. And that's not to say that it has to be one of these two. These are just my two leading theories. And the first is that Kunishige created it for protection, for his family, for Chihiro, just in general against the other enchanted blades. And I feel that way because yes, even though he collected all six of them back, had them locked up, all of the enchanted blade wielders were, sent out and protected of their own. There's no guarantee that one of them wouldn't get back into their hands, especially for how they viewed the sword master, right? That they basically thought he went crazy and, that's why he's being imprisoned now. You might need another blade should that day ever arise. Because if somebody showed up, let's say it's the sword master, let's say it's Samura or whoever, right? And they get their blade back, Kunishige wouldn't be able to wield any of the other five because they're still locked in their eternal contracts with the wielders, right? So if he needed to theoretically ever protect himself or Chihiro or the world, he would need a blade of his own. One reason I really like this idea is because of one of Enten's abilities, Akka, which is basically the ability to absorb another sorcery and then reflect it back, right? To use it yourself. And what better weapon to use against the other enchanted blades but one that can basically steal their power, right? I feel like that makes sense on a level of, okay, I gotta create something to potentially fight these things. And on top of potentially creating it for the greater good, for protecting your family, I think there could be another angle there of Rokuhira like wanting to do it again. Like he was an absolute master of his craft, right? And sure, he kept forging normal swords, but like when you're that good at something, it kills you to just stop having to do it, right? And not that he wanted there to be more destruction, but on some level, I'm sure he really did want to keep pushing himself and trying to elevate his craft even further. But then my other leading theory is that Kunishige didn't create Enten, Chihiro did. Because we know that Chihiro was an apprentice to his father and was learning all about this, right? So it only makes sense that probably at some point his dad might have told him how he created the enchanted blades. And either they created it together, which could have been Kunishige thinking they might need one for protection and those other reasons, but it was really to show Chihiro how to do it. Or they didn't make it together and Chihiro just made it after his father died, realizing the quest he would now need to go on. The only issue with that is that if Kunishige never taught Chihiro, would he have known like the secret to putting in the Datenseki to a blade, right? I feel like maybe he would have had to have been shown that, but maybe not, depending on just, how much Kunishige had taught him in general. I honestly don't know which theory I'm leaning toward more, but what I will say is that if Chihiro didn't create Enten, he is going to create an enchanted blade at some point in this story. I feel like he has to, since we got that from chapter 1, page 1 of him learning with his father, and also the fact that we know he has the Rokuhira eyes. So again, if he didn't create Enten, I see him maybe forging a new enchanted blade, like from the pieces of the other ones at some point or something, because we know he still has the hilt of, I'm blanking on the name right now, but Sojo's sword. Maybe something happens to Enten, maybe something happens to some of these other blades along the way. He'll craft one at some point, unless he already did and it was Enten. Anyways, those are my two leading theories, but please hit me with yours down in the comments, or better yet, in the Discord. Come join us there. We need more Bocce Bros. But as always, y'all, thanks for watching.